When we think of World War II, we often picture grand battles, strategic bombings, and secret intelligence missions. However, one of the lesser known but critical fronts was the battle for meteorological dominance, the North Atlantic Weather War. This hidden conflict played a pivotal role in the war's outcome, as both the Allies and Axis powers fought to control weather forecasts that could make or break military operations. The stakes were high. A single storm could destroy a fleet, while favorable conditions could ensure the success of a major offensive. For example, in early 1941, before the German invasion of the Soviet Union, neither Hitler nor the German High Command anticipated a long campaign lasting into the winter. Thus, they failed to make adequate preparations for a possible winter campaign, such as the distribution of warm clothing and winterization of vehicles and lubricants. In fact, the German army suffered more than 734,000 casualties, about 23% of its starting strength of 3.2 million during the first 5 months of the invasion. In November of 1941, General Eduard Wagner, the Quartermaster General of the German Army, reported that we are at the end of our resources in both personnel and material. We are about to be confronted with the dangers of deep winter. With no satellites or advanced forecasting technology, accurate predictions relied on real-time data from weather stations scattered across remote islands, ships, and occupied territories. Germany, heavily reliant on accurate forecasts for its U-boats and Luftwaffe operations, used several methods to produce reliable weather data. Love diving deeper into military history? This video is supported by my YouTube members who get exclusive videos weekly, not available anywhere else for their kind support. You can join their ranks easily. Just hit the join button now to get the exclusive videos and much more. Thank you for supporting me. I couldn't be doing it without your help. If you want to know more about Germany's Panzer tactics, check out my ebook in the description. The Wettererkundungsstaffeln, also known as Vekusta, were flying units of the Luftwaffe of squadron strength used for weather reconnaissance. Their primary task was to collect weather data in areas that only aircraft could penetrate. Overall, there were 11 Vekustas, each of which had between 3 and 12 two-engined aircraft. Many meteorologists were conscripted into these squadrons, which were vulnerable to attack, to collect the weather data, and more than 200 of them were killed during the war. Later, Germany established a network of secret weather stations in the Arctic and North Atlantic. The Wetterfunkgerät Land, or Weather Radio Station Land, was an automatic weather station that was used by the German Navy. Between 1942 and 1944, the Naval Weather Station Service set up a total of 15 such radio stations. The more than 5-meter long antenna of the station rested on 3 legs, 2 of which had steel cylinders at the end, so-called transmitter pots. These were 1 meter high and had a diameter of 50 centimeters. In total, a station consisted of 10 such pods, which also contained the batteries required for the power supply. The dimensions of the pods were designed so that they could be accommodated in the torpedo tubes of German submarines. 4 times a day, the radio transmitted an encrypted message of the collected data via shortwave. Due to its autonomous power supply, a station had a service life of 4 to 6 months, but some worked for significantly longer. Probably the most famous such station is the weather station Kurt, or officially the Wetterfungerät Land No. 26, erected by a German U-boat crew of the Kriegsmarine in northern Labrador, Dominion of Newfoundland, in October of 1943. Installing the equipment for the station was the only known armed German military operation on land in North America during World War II. After the war, Kurt was forgotten until its rediscovery in 1977. From January of 1942, the German Navy deployed weather buoys as well. The Wetterfungerät Z, or Weather Radio Station C, weighed 1.5 tons. It was 10 meters long and carried an antenna just as long. They were anchored at a depth of 2 to 4 kilometers. At certain intervals, the station would automatically surface, transmit the data, and then dive again. It could record air pressure, humidity, and temperature. But this was not enough. From 1941 onwards, at the suggestion of Hans Robert Knospel, a German polar explorer, the construction of manned weather station was planned and carried out. The construction of a weather station with the codename Operation Knospe was carried out on northwest Spitsbergen in October of 1941. These outposts, often disguised as fishing huts, were staffed by meteorologists and military personnel who transmitted vital weather data to Berlin. The Luftwaffe and the Navy each carried out the training of the weather troops separately. They usually trained their personnel in Norway. Training topics included weather observation, orientation, weapons training and hunting, and tent building. Field kitchen training, mountain training with climbing and skiing were added in further training phases. The additional military training lasted several months. The Luftwaffe sometimes deployed a doctor in the weather troops, while the Navy trained its expedition members extensively in medical knowledge, as was usual for smaller ship units and submarines on which no ship's doctor was available. This qualification included simple dental treatments as well. To defend against these weather troops, the Allied had to use both air and naval forces, which were tied up and not available for other purposes. Unternehmen Haudegen, or Operation Broadsword, was the name of the last German operation during World War II to establish a meteorological station on the Svalbard archipelago in Norway. In September of 1944, the submarine U-307 transported the men to the island. The station was active from the 9th of September. On the 8th of May 1945, the staff received a message from their commanders that Germany had surrendered and that the war was over. After that, the radio contact was lost. The soldiers were capable of asking for support only in August of 1945, and on the 6th of September, they were picked up by a Norwegian seal hunting vessel and surrendered to its captain. The men of the Wettertrupp Haudegen, or Weather Team Haudegen, were the last German troops to surrender after the Second World War. The North Atlantic Weather War was a battle fought not with guns and bombs, but with barometers and radios. It played a hidden yet decisive role in the war, allowing the Allies to outmaneuver the Axis on land, sea, and air. Even after the war, meteorology continued to be strategic importance, laying the groundwork for modern weather forecasting and satellite technology. Though often overlooked, this battle for the skies above the Atlantic was one of the most critical, unsung struggles of World War II. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to support my channel, check out the PayPal donation link in the description or consider becoming a member. To make sure you don't miss my future work, subscribe to my channel please and press the bell notification button. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.